Happy Monday. Welcome in another edition of Three Man Front on Jocks. Hope everyone had a nice, bundled up weekend. Snow, cold weather all over the place in the Deep South. Appreciate you tuning in on this Reaction Monday. Landrum's off all week long. He had not gotten enough of the cold weather, so he decided to go to Colorado. He could have just stayed here. We had snow. We had cold weather. But instead, he went to Colorado.
Do we know the temp in Colorado?
I do not. He did send me a video Saturday where he was, and it definitely looked like it was a whole heck of a lot warmer than it was here. So it looked like he was.
Well, I know they haven't really gotten snow out there, so.
He was basking in the sunshine, watching a parade. I won't discuss what the parade was, but he was standing on the sidewalk.
I have two guesses.
I'm not even getting started on this Monday, so don't even go there.
I just said I had two guesses.
Don't go there. We are wide open today. We will talk to Dave Mason from betonline.ag coming up in the 12 o'clock hour. A lot of Super Bowl bets, a lot of stuff going on during the week as the Super Bowl teams have landed there in the San Jose, San Francisco area for the next week, the festivities that is the Super Bowl. Roger Goodell will have his Super Bowl press conference coming up in just a couple hours. He'll be asked all sorts of fun stuff, including a potential 18-game schedule for the National Football League. Also announced this morning that the NFL is going back to Spain next year. A multi-year deal.
Not a big surprise.
With the country of Spain. So they continue to have the European influence. So I think one day we will absolutely have maybe a division over there.
Are the Jaguars playing in that game? Have they announced the teams?
To my understanding, it is Cleveland and, oh my goodness, who's the other team? It is not the Jags.
Okay. It just feels like almost every time there's an internet. I guess they're more London.
Yeah,
where you see Jacksonville a lot.
Yeah, when our friend JP was on the show a couple weeks ago from the Jacksonville Jags, he told me off the air that looked like they were going to play 2 games in London next year. So he was hoping to get the trip.
It feels like only a matter of time before that franchise is moved overseas, but we could be wrong.
Yep.
We could be wrong.
Big story this morning here locally. The Gus Malzahn era in college football has officially come to a close. Former Auburn head coach and Florida State OC Gus Malzahn officially retires. His 35-year career began in Arkansas at high schools. And then, of course, it peaked at Auburn, where he spent 8 seasons. He went 68-35 down on the Plains. So it's a 680 win-loss percentage. Outstanding. He won an SEC title, finished national runner-up back in 2013. He beat Nick Saban 3 times. He was Auburn's offensive coordinator in 2010 when they won the national championship. So Gus Malzahn, will be very interesting to hear from Auburn fans today where you would put Gus Malzahn in the pantheon of former head coaches at Auburn University.
Yeah, it's interesting because, right before we came on the air, I was talking to the suit, and we were kind of talking about, it feels like now, even in just the last hour or so since the news has come out, if you're on social media, maybe a lot of people are starting to really give him his due diligence in terms of what Gus Malzahn brought to not only Auburn, but just the game of football as an offensive mind. And I mean, we get it, right? He's a little bit of a goofy character and things like that. But the record speaks for itself. What he was able to do, taking Auburn to a national title, winning one as an offensive coordinator there with Cam Newton, obviously beating Alabama as many times as he did when they were kind of at the peak of their powers. I think now that he's stepping away from the game, a lot of people are going to take the time and look back and really start to understand that Gus Malzahn is maybe a little bit underrated from his time in college football, but certainly a big figure here in the state that it'll be sad to see him go. But at least for the Alabama-Florida State game next year, I think a lot of people will be happy that Gus Malzahn will not be patrolling the sidelines if you were an Alabama fan at least.
Well, the good news is that the Florida State-Alabama game will not be the first game of the season.
True.
So it won't be an all off-season type of thing where you're scripting all the plays getting ready for Alabama. It will come in week 3 between those two teams at Bryant-Denny Stadium. So it's interesting because Gus Malzahn does walk away. And you look at the Florida State offense this year. They finished 6th nationally in total offense, 22nd in scoring offense. And he walks away from $4.5 million that was owed to him by Florida State.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I mean, again, I think we all agree that this year you did everything you possibly could with that Florida State offense to give your team a chance, and you still ended up having a pretty pathetic season. I think for him, he might have just been looking around the room of, I don't know if I want to go through another year of this. It looks like the writing's on the wall for Norvell. Maybe it's just time to go out while I'm on top, because the offense was great this year, just didn't translate to wins for some reason.
So Gus Malzahn, he pinned something on social media where obviously he thanked his wife, Christy, looks forward to spending more time with his two daughters. I was communicating with one of his close friends here in the state of Alabama about 20 minutes ago, and he was telling me that he believes that Gus Malzahn will be moving back into the state because, he had a lake place and got grandkids. So I'm sure we will see Gus Malzahn in the friendly confines of the state of Alabama very, very soon. It's
At
also,
a Waffle House.
Yeah. It's also interesting that when you look at the Alabama schedule this next year, all four of Alabama's opponents this September will have new offensive coordinators. So if you're trying to go back and you look at old film and you try to formulate your plan or schematics on what these offensive coordinators have done in the past, East Carolina, they've got a new OC. Kentucky, obviously, Joe Sloan from LSU, he will be the new offensive coordinator. We just mentioned Florida State. Now their wide receivers coach, Tim Harris, he will run the offense. And South Carolina's Kendall Briles will take over for the Gamecocks. So that means four opponents there in the month of September will have brand new OCs that Kane Womack will have to figure out.
So Alabama will be lucky to be 2-2 leaving the month of September.
Well, they're going 7-5, right? Is that the general feeling now?
Yeah, either 7-5 or 8-4 according to Mike Rodak. So that would be on pace for that.
I think I heard
similar.
7-5.
Something like that. That is interesting, though. That's a lot of new faces for Alabama. But like you said, I think starting off with East Carolina, no disrespect to them, but probably a little bit easier than starting with Florida State and Gus like you did this year.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Yeah, it was it. I don't remember.
You just kind of took that off the.
I blocked that one out.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you ought to block the basketball team out because yesterday their appearance in Gainesville, man, that was bad. Losing by 23 points on the road. Alabama had 18 turnovers in the game. Florida only had 2. Gators converted 25 points off those tied turnovers. Gators had 72 points in the paint.
Disgusting.
Bama only had 26. Aiden Holloway had 19. Philon had 14. Charles Bediako had 6 points. He did have 7 rebounds. Florida fans were chanting G League dropout when Bediako
was pretty good. Yeah.
Was going to the free throw line. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Alabama's 5th consecutive loss to the Florida Gators. Tied now 14-7, 4-4 in the SEC. Back at home Wednesday night taking on Buckyball as Bucky got a big win on Saturday. So they're the first place Aggies.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be at Coleman Coliseum wearing the number 1 tag of the SEC.
Is Paige going?
She is going. I am not. It's going to be a very tough night in the Van Order household coming up on Wednesday. But, I mean, you just going back to this game yesterday real quick, I mean, the discrepancy in turnovers, I mean, that's embarrassing. 18-2 in favor of the Florida Gators. I mean, that was just absolutely horrible. Philon, he had 5 turnovers himself. And, I think part of it is, I mean, Todd Golden's kind of Alabama's daddy at this point. It's just the reality of it. They absolutely own Alabama. But, man, it's just this team looked like they had so much potential early on in the season, and it feels like for whatever reason, I know there's been a lot of injuries, but they've just really stagnated. And I think the reality is at this point, you're 21 games into a season. I think it's time to just kind of accept that Nate Oates and that staff, they went out and got a lot of guys in the portal. They got a lot of young guys to come out of high school that they thought can contribute, and they missed on essentially everyone whose name is not Amari Allen, in my opinion. Bo Bowen's been questionable at best. Williamson's been a disaster. Bethea's had a turnover problem. Millette can't hit threes consistently. Bristow's been hurt. I mean, all of these guys that you came in and brought in to be big-time contributors have, seriously, besides Amari Allen, I think they've all been busts. And now you bring in Bediako, and he had 6.7 rebounds. He had like 4 rebounds in the first 2 minutes and then disappeared.
Yeah.
In that game. So there's a lot of problems with this Alabama team, and they definitely have the looks to me of a tournament team that will be lucky to make it out of the first weekend at this rate.
Well, it's interesting that you said that because Jerry Palm, he has posted his updated bracketology. And right now, Alabama has fallen again. This is like 2 weeks in a row. They're going in the opposite direction. They were a 4 seed just a couple weeks ago. They're now a 6 seed, and they would play California in the first round of the NCAA basketball tournament, according to Jerry Palm. Meanwhile, he's got Auburn, who lost at Tennessee over the weekend. He's got Auburn as a 7 seed taking on a 10 seed. The problem with that is if you win that game, he's got them slated to play the winner of Illinois and Troy.
Ooh.
And Illinois,
Troy.
Illinois is looking like they have obviously gotten their sea legs on the season with that impressive win yesterday
I'll
at
say
Nebraska.
they looked good over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they
So let me ask you a
did.
question for the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have more confidence in your Alabama Crimson Tide losing 2 of their last 3, or Molly's team that lost twice this week? Which one do you have more confidence in?
Oh, over the course of the season, Nebraska. I mean, they've been a better team up to this point. I mean, again, you lost a competitive game to Illinois. You
And then
lost a very
Michigan.
close game to Michigan.
Right.
Like you lost to 2 top.
Was that
10
really a
teams.
competitive game against Illinois?
It was more competitive than Alabama was yesterday.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. But Nebraska losing at home by double digits,
Yeah, I mean,
that
it's
was
not great.
not good.
But I'm just down on Alabama right now, so
We
I'll
can
take
tell.
Nebraska.
Yeah. You can hop on the bandwagon anytime.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, it was not a banner day for any teams from the University of Alabama playing basketball. If you combine what LSU women did to the women's basketball Tide and what the Florida Gators did to the men's team, Alabama lost by 63 points yesterday.
Is that bad?
You lost by 40. 40 to LSU. Did Matt Moscona do a special
sounds
video
bad.
last night?
No, I'm sure he's still going through our portal class too.
I did not look. Did Lane Kiffin tweet anything about the absolute embarrassing women's game yesterday?
Let's see. I don't know. See, that would be the time where he would post like an elephant emoji or something like that.
Was he quiet?
No, he's posting something about his sobriety anniversary.
Okay.
Again. He just retweeted a post from the SEC network that said they won by 40 over Alabama. That's it. Just a retweet.
Okay. All right.
He's busy, Pat.
Yeah.
He's got stuff going on.
So yeah, rough Sunday within like a 3-hour time frame.
Oh, was it?
I mean,
great?
if you're Greg Bird, you're sitting there going, "Are you kidding me? This is all happening within like a 3-hour period." I hope he like went and put an old Nick Saban tape on and watched the good old days.
That's what I did.
Did you?
That's what I did yesterday.
Which game did you watch?
My favorite game, I rewatch regularly the 2017 national championship game, and I like the 2021 as well. And then sometimes I will throw on the Alabama LSU one where they didn't cross the 50-yard line if I'm just feeling old school for my age.
That was a good one.
I have a good rotation. A lot to pick from.
Seems like you probably go to that a lot more these days than you used to.
Yes, some Saturdays in the fall, I just throw one of those on and convince myself that was the team I was watching.
When we come back on three-man front, the Auburn Tigers lose on Rocky Top. So it was a rough weekend for some of our state teams in the Southeastern Conference. We'll go over that, the rest of the SEC docket from the weekend. This is Reaction Monday. Love to hear from you. Your thoughts on Gus Malzahn. Where does he fit in the lexicon of the Auburn coaching history of the university? You can give us a call at 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. It is 10:19. Welcome back in. This is Reaction Monday. Welcome back into the program. Pat Landrum, Molly with you all week long. We'll be at Social Taco tomorrow beginning at 10 a.m. Then on Friday, we will be at Crafts on 280 in conjunction with the Birmingham Stallions. So stop on by and see us as we'll be there from 10 until 2. We'll have some more details in regards to some giveaways and some other stuff going on for Friday. So giddy up.
Should be a lot of fun. Can't wait.
I understand the weather is supposed to be in the low 60s by Friday.
I was about to say it's going to be chilly in the mornings this week still, but a couple days getting into the 60s. And then I think early next week as well going to be really nice.
So we talked about Alabama losing yesterday down in Gainesville. The Auburn Tigers, they were on Rocky Top on Saturday night. They fared better. They looked better than Alabama did yesterday. That game was actually competitive. The Vols jumped out to a 16-6 lead in the first 5 minutes of the game. Tennessee was plus 16 on the glass against Auburn. Auburn shot just 23% from behind the arc. That's a problem. You missed 24 three-pointers in the game. Keyshawn Hall, 16 of his team-high 21 points in the second half. He was 3 of 9 from behind the three-point arc. Auburn was held under 40% shooting for the fifth time this year. Auburn is now 0-5. That's the line of demarcation. If they go above 40%, they win. So every time they go below that number, they're 0-5. Stephen Pearl, speaking on postgame radio, says, we got punked. Specifically, the first 15 minutes, they just hit us right in the mouth. Let's hear more from Stephen Pearl, his comments after the Tennessee loss, 77-69.
Yeah, credit to Tennessee. They, beat us at our game. They pushed us around. They punked us. Got to the foul line 11 more times than we did. They did a really good job attacking the paint. They hit 4 early threes, and they didn't continue to settle for threes like we did. They just continued to attack the rim. And they out physicaled us, and kind of had their way. So a lot of the things that disrupted us were a credit to them. They do a great job of loading to the ball and making you settle for threes, and our guys got to do a better job of making open shots, and we weren't able to do that tonight. So our 4 best three-point shooters, combined for 7 for 31. So not going to win when you do that on the road, but Tennessee had a lot to do with that. So
there you go, Stephen Pearl, after the loss to the Tennessee Vols, his alma mater. First time he went back as the head coach of Auburn, playing in the arena that he played in as a player for the University of Tennessee. So the Tigers fall to 14-8 overall, 5-4 in SEC play. They're off until Saturday against Alabama. When you look at the SEC schedule this week, there's only 4 conference games, 2 tomorrow night, 2 on Wednesday night, and then everybody else has got the week off until Saturday.
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit of a slow week. Good thing we have the Super Bowl to look forward to on the weekend. But yeah, not a crowded week of SEC hoops. But I do think for Auburn, just going back to that game from Saturday. I mean, obviously, when you shoot that poorly, it's going to be tough to win against anybody, let alone even a maybe not as good as they have been in the past couple of years, but still a very solid Tennessee team on the road. But I just go and I mean, we talked about this, me and Damien, a little bit on the morning show today. And it's just at what point, I think we're past the point with Tahad Pettiford this season where the reality of it is, like at times when he's on the floor, he's just kind of a liability for them. And I know that's a tough spot to be in because he's making a lot of money. On paper, he should be your first or second best player alongside Keyshawn Hall. And for whatever reason, he's just never been able to get it going this season. And it feels like that inability from him mixed with the volume of shots that he's going to take on a per game basis because he is one of the biggest, playmakers, it's really hurting this Auburn offense. I mean, he goes 4 of 14, 2 of 11 from three-point range on the night. I mean, that's, again, I'm not saying, nobody else was hitting shots either, but it's just you're giving up opportunities to potentially put points on the board because his shot selection just hasn't been great. And even when it is good, he's just not hitting shots. And it just feels like that's going to be a real problem for Auburn, and they may not be able to overcome that this year because he's such a focal point for them, and it's just I don't know what it is. It reminds me a lot of like what we talked about with Ryan Williams in football season, where it doesn't make sense why somebody that was so good as a freshman has completely fallen off the face of the earth as a sophomore.
Very interesting, but they need him. They're now a 7 seed according to Jerry Palm. After the game also, Rick Barnes, he had a very interesting comment about his own basketball teams. They have lapses. If you watch Tennessee basketball, over the last couple weeks. They're the high when they're very high when they're good. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But when they're not good, you kind of scratch your head.
Oh yeah.
Weird passes, just lapses of judgment during a basketball game. So Rick Barnes was asked about this, and he had a very interesting answer.
I mean, at the end of the game, some of the passes that we throw, I mean, just, I don't know what to say other than sometimes I wonder if my guys are betting on games. I shouldn't say that, but, you know, that's what erase that. I don't want to say that. But I just wonder what's happening. I mean, because I know we're too good of players to do that. Was that a bad... I apologize. I shouldn't have said that.
I love that.
Just erase it.
Oh, that's so good.
Just erase it.
But how many
Forget
coaches, seriously, how many coaches around the country, whatever sport it is, have had that thought at some point of that just 100 times out of 100, they would never make that mistake. What's going on here? And you just really, I think now, cross your fingers. I really hope that he's, it's not what I think it is.
Well, they covered, so
They did.
don't know why he's bringing that up, but
Well, maybe there's a particular player point total or something that
maybe there's a prop bet somewhere that he's referring to.
somewhere. That's it. I like the honesty of it, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad that's the world we live in now.
So if you look at the SEC standings, I mean, Tennessee, they have played really good basketball the last couple of weeks. They find themselves now 5-3 in conference play, but the Aggies on top of the league at 7-1. So the number one team in the SEC will be at Coleman Coliseum this week. Florida they got the same number of wins than Texas A&M, but technically they're a half game back because they have lost 2 games where Texas A&M's lost 1. You got Vandy and Arkansas and Kentucky all 6-3. That was a big win by Kentucky over the weekend.
Over Arkansas, yeah.
Yeah, taking out Cal. That game, you want to talk about, they had more technical fouls called in that game.
Didn't they call 3 in like a 2-minute span all on Kentucky at one point?
And then they got it back, though. Then at one point they came back and did almost the exact same thing for Arkansas. Yeah. And then Kentucky went on like a 7-0 run thanks to free throw shooting, things of that nature. So, yeah, it's a jam-packed SEC. And Auburn at 5-4, they're tied with the Missouri Tigers. I mean, Mizzou is sitting there at 5-4, a team that looked hapless in Tuscaloosa last week. And then Alabama is at 500, 4-4. And then you got Texas and Georgia. Georgia was the darling just a couple weeks ago, and now they've taken it on the chin a couple of times. So it's going to be a very interesting second half of the SEC season. Tomorrow night, it will be Ole Miss at Tennessee. That's at 6 o'clock. South Carolina is at Texas. And then on Wednesday, you got A&M at Bama. That's a 6 o'clock tip-off on the SEC network. And then you got Oklahoma at Kentucky at 8. So that's it. That's all the games you got this week.
Yeah, and I'll say this is, because we talked about it last week, while, we may not have, or be in the position we were last year where it was, oh, man, we might get, 14 or 15 teams in the NCAA tournament. Probably going to get, I think you said 9 last week. 9 or 10 is where bracketology seems to be right now. But despite not having that, I do think that the next month or so of the basketball season is going to be incredible because, again, you just look at what you brought up with the standings and how many of these teams are going to be jockeying for position and how many of you brought up Missouri. They're right there with Auburn. They're ahead of Alabama in the standings. But, we were talking last week with somebody who said, I don't think they're a tournament team right now, right? And so you just wonder what happens if they get hot. What happens if Auburn or Alabama really goes on a skid here? Could they find themselves on the outside looking in? There's so many different storylines and so much parity in the conference that while maybe we don't look and go, man, we're going to get 14 teams in the tournament or this team's the best team in the country, it should be very fascinating to watch how the SEC race kind of goes the next month of the season. A lot can change.
Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com, his latest bracketology this morning. He's got 10 SEC teams.
There you go.
10. Missouri is one of the first 4 that they're playing. So they're one of the last 4 in, but they'll play at the first 4 in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting. We will open up the phone lines, 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. We'll get to your communication next on Three Man Front. 10:33 here on Jocks. Welcome back in. This is Reaction Monday. Anything from the weekend, whether it was Alabama losing yesterday, Auburn losing Saturday, the retirement of Gus Malzahn this morning. We'd love to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX.
Well, flu season is here, so make your home healthier with Trane's Clean Effects Home Air Cleaner. It removes up to 99.9% of airborne particles, including those that cause virus. It's 100 times more effective than standard air filters and 8 times more effective than HEPA room filters. So go and find a dealer near you at Trane.com.
Before we get to your calls, a little bit of football transfer portal news over the weekend. Alabama adds another running back to their stable.
Buddy.
Does that mean you've booked your national championship tickets to the hotel?
Yes. That's what I was doing yesterday.
Former Tennessee and Appalachian State running back Khalifa Keith has transferred to Alabama. The former Parker High School player, 6'1", 235-pounder. He'll have 2 years of eligibility remaining. Keith appeared in 6 games during his lone season at App State, rushed for 8 yards on 3 carries. He's got a lot of tread on the tires, obviously.
I'm about to blow your mind, Pap.
Hold on.
No, okay. So I'm just really excited.
I can tell.
Yeah.
He spent 2 years at Tennessee where he ran for 100 yards and a touchdown as a sophomore across 4 games. All told, during his time at Tennessee, Keith had 124 rushing yards and a touchdown. He preserved his red shirt as a sophomore, so he will have 2 years of eligibility remaining. So the Tide up to 6 bodies in the running back room. Now, go ahead.
Well,
Your excitement.
Yeah,
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was going to share those earth-shattering statistics and get everybody fired up because 3.8 yards per carry, that's an electric number right there, Pat. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, I think we all understand this is a body, somebody that can come in at practice, somebody that can come in and maybe develop into a role player at some point. But just based on his build, I would say very similar or most similar to what you have in a guy like Daniel Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would expect that this is a guy that, maybe you need 2 dirty yards at some point. He can come in and get that for you, but probably more of a practice guy than anything. But you need the depth of that position, and you got it.
Local kid coming home, played at Parker High School, good program.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see what happens. Bama announced 17 transfers out of the transfer portal. I saw a stat over the weekend where Oklahoma State, they have gotten 51 players out of the transfer portal. 51.
I'm assuming that's the most of any school this year.
That is correct. Iowa State comes in at number 2 with 48.
Whew.
Arkansas with 41. UCLA and Colorado also with 41. LSU with 40. Auburn at 39. Penn State 37. West Virginia 34. And Wisconsin 33. So that's your top transfer portal schools in which they have gone and done some transfer portal shopping.
And based on last year, all programs that probably needed to do that. So that's a 51 players.
51 players.
Woo, that's a lot of new names to learn. Now, granted, I don't know. Mestamaker was the big one, but I'm sure there's a handful of North Texas kids in that group that are following their coach, but still, that's a lot of new faces.
All right, let's get to the phone calls at 1-800-239-WJOX. A myriad of topics. We'd love to hear from you on this Reaction Monday.
Absolutely. Let's go to Bart, who has been waiting patiently, wants to talk a little buckyball. How we doing, Bart?
Doing great, guys. I've been a listener for years and years, and to get me to call in, it's got to be important. I just want to bring attention to another local story here that is kind of going under the radar, and this is Coach Bucky McMillan. As you guys know, he's a Mountain Brook guy, but I played basketball at Sanford back in the 70s. And when Bucky came to – I didn't know a whole lot about him when he came to Sanford. But in addition to turning, let's be honest, a terrible program at the time around, he rejuvenated the boosters, the fans. I mean, he got that people rocking and rolling, and Southern Conference, all these things that you know. But I've been following him very closely at Texas A&M, and of course he's in first place, and I think he's got a really rough road to hoe the rest of the way, but he could be National Coach of the Year. He's that good. Mm-hmm. He is going to be one of the greatest coaches in college basketball. Well, he already is. He's just not known for it yet. And I really don't need to comment. I mean, against Alabama and Florida, they just don't. I don't see, as much as I want them to win, I don't see how they have a chance, because the biggest guy they got on the starting lineup is 6'6", and Alabama and Florida, their big men are just going to be too big. But you watch Bucky. He's going to go places, and anyone in Birmingham that's a fan of sports, you really need to be tuned in to watch what he's doing, because he's doing the same thing at A&M that he did here. And here's the other thing. He's doing it with players that he almost had to take.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally know that not all those guys on the team are Bucky-type players, but he's still molded them into a great team. And when he gets a year or two of recruiting under his belt, the sky's the limit. I've talked too much, but I just want to make those comments.
No, it's great. Thank you very much for the call, Bart. Appreciate you listening and giving us a call. And that, what Bart just brought up, that's a great point, because if you think back at when he was named the head coach at Texas A&M, it was very late in the cycle. And because it was so late in the cycle, you had to go shopping. And when you're going out shopping, a lot of guys had already found new homes. And not to mention the fact that the former head coach at Texas A&M took a player or two, I believe, with him to Maryland. So,
and that's not going well for them at all.
No, but one thing is for sure, Bucky, once he can go and recruit his type of player for his system,
they're going to be so good.
Yeah, but we brought this up Friday, and this is not poo-pooing on Texas A&M's resume. This is just a fact, because when you get to this time of the year, you're starting to dive into the deep data in regards to the net rankings and things of that nature. And the bottom line is that they've had a very soft schedule. And as Bart brought up, the next couple of weeks, the proof will be in the pudding.
It's going to be tough.
I mean, you got to go to Coleman Coliseum, tough place to play. You know that Nate Oates, these are not going to be very good practices for Alabama over the next couple of days. They're going to be ready for Bucky. But Texas A&M sitting there with a 17-4 record, they just have not played that tough of a schedule. They are 3-3 in quad one games. So they've only played 6 opponents that you would qualify as the toughest of the tough when it comes to basketball. In comparison, Alabama's played 9 games. Tennessee's played 11. Auburn's played 11. So that's the point.
Different.
You've only played 6 quad one games in your 3-3. The majority of their wins came against quad 4, which is the weakest opponents according to the NCAA.
Yeah, and maybe it'll change when the new polls come out today, but I think a lot of people would look at the record and go, wow, how are they not in the top 25? And you look at, Alabama and Auburn's record, and Alabama was still in the top 25, but again, you dive into who they played, and that's the reason you play a tough non-conference schedule like Alabama and Auburn did, and it kind of helps you the rest of the way. But yeah, Alabama, Florida, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Kentucky, all still left there for Texas A&M. I will just say I thought it was funny. So me and Paige, we were having dinner with my mother-in-law on Friday, and somehow the Bucky thing came up. I said, oh, yeah, it's kind of a running joke on the show now. She, oh, that's funny. She goes, so how's Mountain Brook basketball doing anyways? And I said, what? She goes, yeah, he's the head coach at Mountain Brook. How's that going? And I said, you realize he's not the head coach there anymore, right? She goes, oh, where is he? I said, he's the head coach of Texas A&M basketball.
Did she forget the whole Sanford thing?
She never knew he was at Sanford. I said, yeah, he was at Sanford for a few years, and then she just thought he was still at Mountain Brook. I said, no, Bucky's doing big things.
Dang.
Bucky is having a lot of success there in College Station. So
I think she was just trying not to make you upset as well.
Probably so. Well, Bucky had some. Did you see what he said about mother-in-laws after the game on Saturday? So maybe that was part of it. But I just thought that was funny. I was like, oh, he's not at Mountain Brook anymore. He's doing quite well for himself.
He's doing very well. And I'm not saying that the Aggies are not a good basketball team. We will see the schedule that you just read off. That will be the true proof.
You win your next 2 against Alabama and Florida, I think we're having a lot different conversation about.
Or just, let's be honest.
Split.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if it's Florida, the team that you ultimately take down. Let's get one more phone call. Don. Sure he wants to talk about Gus retiring this morning. How you doing, Don?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Doing well.
Good. No, they had a question on Cole's show, and if they named the top 5 coaches in Auburn history, and where would y'all rank Gus? I'd have them at about 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, I would say
probably 3rd.
I would say 3rd. Obviously behind Dye and Shug. Or would you put Shug before Pat Dye? Where would you have it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would go Shug first and Pat Dye second, and probably third and fourth would be tough between Tuberville and Malzahn, and
Yeah.
maybe Little Cherry Fifth.
Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah, that's interesting. That is very close between Tubbs and Malzahn. Tubbs did not play. Now he should have played for a national championship one year. That Auburn got denied that opportunity, but Gus Malzahn did take Auburn and win the runner-up trophy there in 2013.
Pat, we count that as a national championship. We went 14-0 that year.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That was one of the ones you added last year.
Is that really one they put up in the?
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, I have no idea.
No, actually on the stadium now they got 5 up there on the stadium.
But that wasn't one of the years, was it? 2004, 3? What year was that? Whatever year that was.
2004 is on the stadium now in 83, 2, and I think one like 1913 or something like that.
Yeah, 83 was the New York Times national championship.
Oh, well, hey.
The computer poll gave them the number one ranking.
Well, it was Reader's Digest in 2004, Pat.
2004. Now that was Golf Weekly or Golf Digest.
Oh yeah, it was. That's right. Yeah, that was the golf one.
Yeah, I was on the air then. We had a lot of fun. We had a big got our voice guy to do a big thing on the show, home of the 2004 national champions, according to Golf Digest.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Conrad, I was just messing with you this morning. You didn't have to get all mad and upset.
He was ticked in the office for the show. He said, Molly, if Don calls, I don't know if I want to talk to him. I might have to leave the room.
I said, calm down. It'll be fine.
I just wanted to stir it up this morning, Don. Sometimes I get fired up at 6:45 or whatever.
Well, Pat, I got to spend 4 hours with him tomorrow. Is he gonna kill me tomorrow?
Nah, I think you'll be fine.
If you just watch your mouth, and we'll be fine, Don.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. But, hey, Pat, I tell you what, I know I texted you and everything. You are going to get overflowed Friday, sir.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I'm glad you brought that up because I do have some details. All right, so we're going to be at Crafts on 280. It's the old Wendy's, if you're familiar, right there when you get on 280.
It's right next to the hotel.
Yeah, right next to the Hampton Inn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the event is going to be between 11 and 1. Guests are going to include A.J. McCarron, JoJo Tillery, Michael Hires, Mason Brooks. Now, the first 50 fans, free lunch.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
First 50 fans, free lunch. There's going to be some giveaways as well. So, yeah, hopefully everyone, it's supposed to be a beautiful day. I think it's going to be in the low 60s on Friday. So, yeah, so come on out and see us. We'll be at Crafts on 280 in conjunction with the Birmingham Stallions. So it should be fun.
Yeah, I think you're going to have people camping out for those free lunches.
Hey, great food, good opportunity.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, thank y'all very much, and I will see y'all tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
Thank you, Don. More of your calls, your texts as well. This is Reaction Monday on Jocks. And it's 10:50. Welcome back in. Three-man front on this Reaction Monday. 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450.
Yes, let's go to our buddy Chris, who's been waiting on hold. Chris, how we doing this morning?
What's going on, Pickles? Is everything? Coach Landrum, how you doing?
Oh, Landrum's not here today.
How you doing?
Landrum is not here today. Landrum will not be back till next Monday.
No.
I'm sorry. Would you like? I can give you his cell phone number if you'd like to call him. And
Ooh, can we do that? Can you do that live on the air? Actually,
nah, it's fine.
His number is 334. Oh, you don't want me to give it?
Molly, y'all think? No, I'm good. Molly, you're good as always. But it's good that the Conrad is here because he and me need to have a come to Jesus moment, if you will.
Go for it.
About what?
After last Friday.
Have the meeting.
Because remember how I said we judged the Bama basketball teams and the football teams on a curve based on what past successes as well as the standard
I do
that
remember
you all
that.
claim
Yes,
or what it is?
I do remember that. Yeah.
Well, look at us now.
Yeah, Conrad, you got embarrassed in Gainesville.
Saw that one coming.
Florida. Whatever. It went out in Gainesville. Not without a fight, but with a freaking whimper once again. And let's be honest, Kim Mulkey is just pretty much just licking her chops whenever she plays T-Town people. Listen, again, I'm not saying you can't fix this, but the problem is like you have to get over the break the ceiling of pretty much just saying compared to where we used to be, at least we're not there. No, I don't want to turn to Georgia Mark Rich. I want to dominate. You had 18 turnovers. You barely can get a rebound. And let's be honest, if you I almost want to compare some of the Celtics. I almost want to compare the likes of Joe Mazzulla and Kirk Nate Oates to how they run their offenses, which is just high percentage shots and throw it up and catch. But the point is, every ball has a history of its own. If you're not hitting it, you better be able to crash those boards. But guess what? You ain't getting it. And when you don't hit shots, it definitely shows. And pretty much eventually you're going to if any lead you might have in a game is going to be whizzed away. What are we talking about? What are we doing? Huh?
I mean, I understand the frustrations in terms of Nate Oates, and it's just going to be a certain way with Nate Oates, and that's the reality of it. But again, this is why you can't compare. It does, but again, this is like when you came on Friday and you said that you're holding the basketball program to the same standard as the football program. They're completely different. You cannot hold this basketball program to the same standard of the football program. Well, you can, but you're just going to be very disappointed quite often.
I refuse to settle for less because, my goodness, you're trying to get something and you progress it. But I can't just sit here and be stagnant. I have to go out and want to get it. Where's the leaders to step in on the team and say, like LeBaron Fowler, and say, yo, this ain't sustainable. We got to go in and establish ourselves as a team that wants to just beat everything in sight.
All right, Chris, let me ask you.
Not just say we did enough to get by.
All right, let me ask you this, Chris. Who do you think the biggest leader is on that basketball team? Because obviously last year, Mark Sears, you would say that was the leader of that team. Who's the leader now? Is it Philon? Is it Holloway? Who is it?
You want to say Philon or Holloway? The point is, though, a certain leader of the previous team came back, Charles Bediaco. You should be the first one that steps on the line as a team meeting and say, you guys, I came back for a reason. I came back to get a ring, not just to say have another shot at it.
I mean, I get that, but I think that'd also be a hard thing to stand up and say after you had 6 points and 7 rebounds, and you have all this controversy around you, and you want to be the leader.
That's our point. Prove your doubters wrong. Because Lord knows those Auburn fans are in my mentions right now, lighting me up.
No, I'm sure that they are, but I think, and we appreciate your phone call today, Chris. I think the reality is for Alabama is you don't have, right, Nate Oates' thing has always been, right, the blue collar, the hard hat, whatever player. You don't have that this year. Last year you had Sears, you had Mo Diabate, you go back to a guy like a Herb Jones. Like, you've had guys in the past that embody that. I don't really think you have anybody that embodies that. If I were to pick one player that does, it'd probably be Amari Allen, but he's a freshman and he's been hurt. So, like, there's kind of limitations on what you can do, and I don't think Philon's that guy. I don't think he wants to be that guy, though, personally.
I think you're right.
And I think he's just fine with that.
We will continue with your calls, your text messages as well. Gus Malzahn called it a career this morning down at Florida State. He retired. Where do you have him in the pantheon of Auburn coaches all time? We'll talk about that. Much more to come on this Reaction Monday.